Humans are bad mothers. Welcome to another manly rant, where we rant to promote domestic excellence in males and to crush maliteracy, some people say effeminacy, which is where men do not understand how to be biblical males. We're grateful for your attention today as we look at this topic of it's really a parental rant, and it's really touching on this topic of humans misunderstanding what we should nurture and what we should actually destroy. We as humans are given the capacity to either nurture something or ruin it. And we want to understand there's some things that we should nurture, there's some things that we should ruin. And we want to look at this topic today from 1 Kings 3, verse 16 to 28. And this is the story of King Solomon after he asks God, after God comes to him in a dream, he is asked to choose whatever he wants, and he asks for an understanding heart to discern good judgment for the people of God. He is now taking over the reins as the king of the Hebrews, the king of the Jews, and he wants to be a good king. And he immediately asks God for understanding and a heart that is able to make good choices. He understands that as a king, he is before the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and he wants to make the right choices concerning how he should govern. 1 Kings 3:16 to 28 is the story of the two mothers that comes to Solomon immediately after he asks God and receives from God wisdom and an understanding heart. So let's read 1 Kings 3:16 to 28. But before we read, we want to understand again, why are we doing this rant? As we come to the end of 2025, we have to look back as men. We can look back and see we're not mothers, but we are called to nurture our families and to ensure that we are keeping the snakes, the bad choices away. We have shown ourselves as humans as not being able, this current version of humanity, the fallen version of humanity that many of us display so well. We are bad mothers. We are not good generally at understanding what to nurture and what to ruin, what to destroy. So let's read 1 Kings 3:16 to 18 quickly. King James Version reads, Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house. I was delivered of a child with her in the house. It came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. This woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. She arose at midnight, took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is thy son, and the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, The one saith, This is my son that lives, and thy son is dead. And the other says, Nay, but thy son is dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. They brought a sword before the king. The king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she replied, O my lord, give her the living child. and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. Verse 28. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged. They feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. We're talking about protecting our baby. We're talking about this from 1 Kings 3, 16 to 28. Main point, humans, this current version, fallen version of humanity, are bad mothers. We have shown ourselves as adept at ruining what we should nurture and nurturing what we should ruin. There are many lessons from the case of the two mothers in 1 Kings 3, 16 to 28. Ultimately, we ostracize the bad mother. She is a harlot. We look down on her. We look down on many women that we think are loose. But we're ignorant that each of us have been and can continue to exactly be that bad mother when we listen to the adversary of humanity, as the Bible puts him, Satan, the one who hates the image of God in humanity. Now, sleeping or unconscious people don't understand how Satan sneakingly prepares us for ruin as that bad mother. We're using mother loose in a figurative sense. We as males, we know males can't be mothers, but we're called to cultivate strong and godly families. Now, Satan doesn't brazenly present the ruinous choice to us. But over time, he sifts us, he grooms our ears for the cover story until we blossom into that quote-unquote bad mother and her demise. Often, to our own surprise, when the world hands us half a baby, as we agreed. We leave our family exposed to promiscuity based on the little white lie that we were diligently fed from our youth that NROP isn't evil because it's only you involved. That is, you cannot truly cheat with an adult website. So by the time you're married, your baby, the marriage, is totally exposed to and groomed for NROP addiction and torment. Also, Satan disguises alcoholism in health and comfort by teaching us from a tender age that a little wine is good for the stomach, 1 Timothy 5:23, and to let him with a heavy heart drink, Proverbs 31, 6-7. And remember, Jesus turned water into wine, John 2, 8-9. So alcoholism is just fine. Then in our attempts to nurture our family, we evangelize them similarly, and they often see us drunk. Again, the baby, or family, is left wide open to alcoholism because of satanic grooming and cover stories. Recall that Satan often sought to eliminate the messianic figures in the Bible by killing babies. Example, Pharaoh's attempt to kill Moses and Herod's attempt to kill Jesus. Recall that Revelation disclosed that the dragon will try to kill the woman's baby, Revelation 12, verse 4. And so, pedicide, homicide of a child, is a deliberate satanic strategy to, regardless of how cute they seem, eliminate anyone who would dare oppose the world system in their infancy. That is, Satan isn't influenced by your child's cuteness and is adamant to prevent their growth to fulfill their purpose. And any parent, mentor that stifles children are also committing pedicide. The spirit that is also committing pedicide, the spirit world sees our purpose and not our stature. That is, the angels and demons around us don't see us as cute or cuddly, but as capsules for Yahweh's image, as Genesis 1:28 commanded. And those who are messianic will defend God's image. The angels that are antichrist, they will oppose God's image. They just see you as a capsule, not a cute baby. This is why Jesus curses those mentors in the context of Matthew 18 verse 6. Anyone who dares stumble a little one who believes in him, it's better that he says to put a rope around his neck. We know the rest of the story in Matthew 18:6. Ultimately, the Jesus gospel, that is, Yah's son Jesus, died for our immorality and resurrected for our immortality. This gospel is important because we have all been and are satanically groomed to be, quote unquote, bad mothers to our identities, dreams, sexuality, finances, health, or words, etc. And we all need saving. So we don't commit pedicide on ourselves and the next generation like the bad mother from 1 Kings 3 attempted. We're grateful that you have come to the end of this episode of Manly Rant. We know we went a little bit longer than usual, but we want us as males to understand we have been groomed to destroy what we should ruin, what we should nurture, and to nurture what we should ruin. We will pet the snake and kill the child. We do hope that we will understand that we as males are called to be conscious and have open eyes to the tricks of the adversary. And we want to understand that in 2026, we don't want to have any more tricks. No more tricks in 2026. So, why rob God and this world of you and your family? And until next time, be nuclear.